Robert Plank Show, episode 335. Use proof to add the social proof conversion cheat code to your sales pages, shopping carts, and sign up pages to increase your income with David Rogenmoser. Hey everyone, we're talking right now with Dave Rogenmoser, and Dave is the co-founder of Proof, which is a software which creates a buying frenzy on your website by displaying a recent customer activity. And Dave also co-founded the Entrepreneur Alliance, which is a fast-growing global club of digital entrepreneurs committed to building recurring revenue-based businesses. So Mr. Dave, nice to be talking to you today.
I'm pumped to dig in and share some good stuff here, man.
Cool. I'm excited too. And so I understand that you guys have this sort of web app called Proof. Can you kind of explain to us what that is?
Yeah, so I've been in internet marketing for about 3 years now. Love funnels, live and die by the funnel. You get a really great funnel, life's good. You can also spend a lot of time building a funnel that you kind of start running some traffic to. It doesn't convert at all like you thought it would. I think we've probably all been there before. And what I found, probably about 2 years ago, a really easy way to get a higher converting membership or higher converting website or funnel was by adding social proof on there. And it was by adding, testimonials or screenshots of, past case studies or videos from other customers that were really happy. And I started putting this on there, and it was like a shortcut. It was like a cheat code, I feel like, to getting a higher converting lead magnet or sales page or whatever. And that was all well and good. We're kind of running the game. And I noticed something that, hotels.com and booking.com, these other websites that were selling hotels, like really huge websites were doing. And they were displaying little notifications when you were on the site that said, so-and-so just booked a hotel room, 10 minutes ago, or 8 people watching this room right now, book soon. And it wasn't just social proof, like a static social proof. It was like really live and engaged. And I'd seen this a little bit on some Shopify kind of e-commerce sites. And I thought, gosh, like I want this for my funnels. Like, what if my funnels could just display notifications that said, so-and-so just bought my course, so-and-so just bought my course. And I was like, that would be killer. So I started looking around for it, couldn't find really anything that did what I wanted it to do out there. And so luckily my partner's a software developer. One of my partners, but there's 3 of us. And so he kind of built a little bit of an MVP version where in about 2 weeks we had a little notification that would pop up on our order form and ClickFunnels that said, Matt just bought 8 minutes ago. Dave from Annapolis, Maryland just bought 12 minutes ago. They just kind of cycle through. And that was kind of where Proof came about. And so we put it on that order form. We set it. We're like, you know what? We don't even know if it's going to work. Maybe it's not going to increase conversion rate at all. Maybe it will. I was thinking it would. So we put it on there and waited. And about 3 days later, we came back and looked at the conversion rate. And the order form was converted about 20% without that, which is fine. We're making money. We came back and the order form was converted at 42% by using Proof and displaying recent customer activity and recent sales. That's when I think we knew we were really onto something. So that's kind of the backstory to how Proof even came about.
That's pretty crazy. So you're saying that you went from 20% on that order form conversion to 42%. So you doubled it just by, like you said, adding that cheat code, adding that quick little sort of copy and paste. And for everyone sort of following along, can you tell us, is there a website where people can sort of see this live right now in action?
Yeah, if they go to useproof.com, that's our website, and that's where you can actually see it in action. Look at the bottom left, or if you're on your phone, you can just pull, it'll show up at the bottom, and you'll start to see these little notifications pop up with sometimes a map of where a person's location is, sometimes a, actual person, maybe their social profile picture will be on there, and it'll start telling you how many people have signed up here recently for our website.
Super cool. And so like yeah, you said you've seen this on travel sites and things like that. And this makes me think of seeing this on like Aweber's site, maybe, I mean, 5 or 10 years ago, just like, saying like same exact thing, like such and such 16 minutes ago from this city and state signed up for Aweber. And that's just a really cool thing that like I've kind of sort of like you, I've seen it all over the place, but never really made the connection that like, oh yeah, like someone could make sort of a plugin where someone can sort of put that on any sites. And you mentioned ClickFunnels. So am I sort of right in assuming that this can appear on any site, like whether you host it or not?
Pretty much. I mean, there was kind of always kind of working on like fringe cases, but for the most part, anybody with a website can use Proof. Again, there's occasional, like if you're using one of the mainstream ones, though, then it's going to work for you and work well. So that's kind of the key for us, is to make this really easy to install for all of our users. And I think maybe what we've seen is that people use a ton of different stuff. Like there's thousands of softwares out there that people are trying to integrate with. We're trying to keep up with all those, but luckily we've knocked out most of the big ones.
Super cool. So I get the idea that okay, if someone is about to buy, it sort of flashes different people who have maybe bought recently. And can this be used for other things? Like, can this be used for say like opt-in forms and things like that?
Yeah, so that's kind of the question that we had in our minds. Okay, cool. Well, this worked on our order form. We went and tested on other order forms. It was working really well on order forms. And still to this day, it works the best on order forms. Because I think at that point, like you're pulling out the credit card, the buyers are trying to like take in as much information as they can about whether or not this is a good deal. I think like what proof or why proof works so well is because people don't know what's a scam and what's not. You look at some picture of somebody as a testimonial, and you're like, is that even recent? Like, is this site even live now? But then you see like Joe bought 2 minutes ago, and you're like, wow, like Joe's on the site right now. He just took that action, and then move forward. But I think our question was, well, is this going to work kind of further up the funnel? Where you don't really need as much social proof. I mean, to give away my email address, I'm not all that worried about it. Like I'll do it or not. But what we found is, yeah, that you can, one, technically you can put this on, any lead magnet or anything like that using the software, but it also increases conversion rate quite a bit. We found it's not as much. The further down the funnel that you go to like the sales page and order form, it works better. But even on like, lead magnets, webinar registration pages, ebook downloads, things like that, it works well too.
Super cool. So you can use it on any of those things. Like I hadn't even thought of webinar registrations, but I was just sort of thinking that in terms of well, if someone is saying like I just set up a Shopify store, or if I have a site that doesn't have a ton of traffic, I've sort of seen that with your proof sort of tool that if that some things can sort of flash by and say such and such bought. But am I right in assuming that say if someone hasn't bought in like a day or two or a week or even longer, it won't give that negative social proof, right? It won't say like, oh well, Dave bought 6 months ago. It'll only show like the recent purchases.
Yeah, so it's actually a setting that we're working on right now to be able to kind of stop it after a few days. Most of our customers have, some action being taken, on a regular basis. And so we'll tell people, like, say you listen to this, and you're like, well, I don't get this many orders, that frequently. But I would say, well, we'll move up the funnel, like what do you get more frequently? Do you get more email addresses, at a certain point? Do you get more lead magnet dials? Maybe it's webinar registrations. Maybe you want to get a few purchases a week of your course or something. But yeah, just put it on a place that you do get more opt-ins. And if someone's not getting any opt-ins or anything for like weeks at a time, like they're probably not going to afford the software in the first place, So it hasn't really been too much of a problem for us.
Okay, just curious. And so sort of can you like walk us through like what are the sort of steps that someone goes through when they grab your proof tool? Like they log in and then I'm assuming that they grab some kind of code and like somehow hook it into their kind of system. And so like I mean, what are the steps involved with that?
Yeah, so we really try to make it as simple as possible. But first thing, people need to put our little JavaScript pixel in the header of every page of their site. And the reason we do that kind of every page allows us to track everybody, allows us to get better location data from the person because we'll actually pull the location of the visitor. And so when they opt in, we might say, again, Dave from Annapolis, Maryland. Well, they didn't type in Annapolis, Maryland. We just pulled their IP address. And so having that really helps. And then you got to decide kind of really two things. One, where are you pulling the information from? And so for that, that's like, what's the form that they're actually entering or submitting? And so for a lot of people, it's, an order form and say, I want to pull information. Whenever somebody submits an order, I want to grab that. I want to display that notification somewhere. Then the second thing is just where are you going to display that? And so a lot of people will, display it on the order form. So you pull from the order form, you display on the order form. But maybe you want to pull it and you want to display it on a sales page. And the sales page doesn't have any forms on it, but you just want to show so-and-so just bought. Or maybe you want to take it and you want to put it on, way up the funnel. And on your home page, you want to say somebody bought, even though you're not actually signing up on the home page, you're just clicking through a button. So there's really just two things. Where do you want to grab it from? And then what do you want to display it on? And like you mentioned, webinar registrations. I mean, it crushes on webinar registrations. We get really, really crazy opt-in conversion rates just from putting proof on there. So yeah, most pages it works well.
Cool, and I like the way that you explain that. Where like you can place it wherever you want. That's one part of it, like webinar, opt-in, sales form, whatever. And then you can also choose to place it at any other point. So, like you said, that you got a really huge boost putting it on the actual order form. But then you also had a lot of success with putting it on like the very front page of the site. So it's really cool, kind of going in knowing that it can go in different places. And so we've seen sort of the proof pop up, and so it kind of pops up and shows, like you said, like Dave from Annapolis, Maryland, and sometimes shows their picture. And like, where does that sort of stuff come from? Does it come from like their Facebook profile or Google Plus, or where does it like grab the picture of that person?
Yeah, so we grab like exactly public profiles that they have available. We can't find it for everybody, and if we can't find their like publicly available profile, then we'll just put a map in place, and it'll just show like a little pin on Annapolis, Maryland. But yeah, we just pull it from their social profiles.
Cool. And then so after people get proof set up, I've logged in a little bit. I've noticed that I can sort of see like some of the more like recent, I guess you like entries, or I'm not sure what the term is, but like what other sort of interesting things are there to do after the proof pixel is set up? Because like for example, one thing that me and my business partner did was we set up the proof pixel, and we immediately set up a split test of it with the pixel and without it. And I went back to him later, and I think we needed to redo it because we had some test data. But I mean, are there any sort of actions like that, like split testing it or anything sort of similar that people should be doing after they get this pixel in place?
Yeah, so really we prefer to have people split test. A lot of people split test just because, they're marketers and they get that. And like, what did you guys use for that? Like Optimizely or VWO or
We
something?
just use the built-in ClickFunnels split testing.
Okay, so you just put on a different URL, like
Yeah.
one on one or one there. Exactly. That's what like a lot of people, do for us. And so, but what we found is like a lot of people don't split test, and that's kind of been interesting. I think even some of these like really like high level people, and we've got probably 20 or 30 like pretty big name people that are using it here now. People would recognize. And what's funny is a lot of them just say, "Oh, I get it. I'm not going to split test this because I don't want to lose the sales, and I know it's going to work. I know it's going to be better." And it's kind of cool to see people that like really understand marketing, understand what's going on. They say, "Oh yeah, we're actually just going to launch it because we're in a big launch right now. We're trying to make as much money as possible, and I know I'm going to lose on the split test, and so I'm not even going to do that." But I really like when people split test. We try to run our by the data and by the actual numbers here, and so split testing. I mean, people have all sorts of decisions to make as far as where they want it, what kind of settings do they want, the notification, do they want it showing up on mobile, not showing up on mobile. It's kind of a variety of different things there. But yeah, that's kind of the challenge for us is thinking through, how can we even do split testing inside of our app where you don't have to like set it up in ClickFunnels. You can just press launch split test on this one page and kind of we'll take care of it from there. So there's kind of new features like that we're coming out with here down the pipe.
That's a pretty good idea. I'm looking forward to that. And so, are there any features that people aren't making use of with Proof, or is it just that simple that there's not a lot to miss out on?
There's not a lot to miss out on. I mean, I think the biggest problem that we kind of overcome or we're trying to overcome here is getting them to use it on lots of different pages. And so, I want it to be part of everybody's like just setup flow where, you create a new page, you're creating a new webinar kind of, quickly. I want it to be where proof is on that page every single time. And what we found is that people might set it up once, they might set it up on a couple pages, but then like they kind of go back to their normal flow and they're setting up an order form, and they don't even think about putting proof on there. They kind of launch it and I'll go, find it a couple days later if they're kind of a VIP customer and say, "Hey, you should put it on here." But I think that's the thing is that people like it, people see great results from it, but then they might kind of forget about it in their normal everyday because it's not totally built in. But yeah, so the more we can do that, I think the more people will be happy about it and make it easier for them to actually set it up and use it a lot.
Super cool. So when people see like the extra boost they get from having that Proof pixel there, then they'll want to make it part of their checklist when they set up all their different stuff.
Yeah, and we're going to start kind of recommending URLs or maybe, for you, like you launch a new webinar page and we see it starts getting traffic, we can actually like alert you and say, "Hey, here's a new page. Proof's not set up on here. Do you want to set it up?" Maybe you can even like one click set it up. Or it's like, "Yeah, I want on that URL, I want on this URL. Oh, thanks for reminding me. Maybe we'll give you an email with, 'Hey, we found there's these 4 new URLs in your flow here this week. Do you want to put proof on any of them?'" And just make it really easy in case like you forget to just start adding proof to various pages really, really quickly.
That'd be pretty cool, especially yeah, if like ClickFunnels or Shopify or one of those like big timers like agree to that, where just like one click drops the proof pixel. I mean, it sounds like the dream.
Yeah, totally. No, we're working with that. I mean, we're good friends with the guys from Samcart. A lot of our customers use Samcart, and we're gonna be talking with them about kind of doing like a one click. How do I just hook it up where this is like standard? All you gotta do is hook it up one time, and now it's just gonna be showing up on all your pages from there on out. And I think if we can get it easy to set up, then we win.
Yeah, I think so. And just like, yeah, just the way that you've been describing proof, it's like, it's really cool because, I mean, I've dealt with all those same issues, both as a buyer and a seller with testimonials, right? The testimonials are like, they're okay, but they're kind of a tough thing to get. And then it always sucks because, like, they write this big long thing. And then if there's a website that they have in there, I have to like check every once in a while to make sure it's not some like 5 years out of date website. And then if it is, it's like
Exactly.
now the testimonial is working against me. And then if someone does even more research, like they look at like the Wayback Machine, they look at like older versions of my site. Next thing I know, I had the same testimonial on there 5, 6, 7 years ago. And then also on top of all that, like you said, sometimes it just says like Dave R or something. Like you don't see like their whole name, and it's like, is that even real? So the proof sort of seems like the updated version of testimonials, right? Because it's like they automatically update. It seems more real because there's actual like a picture and a map and stuff like that. And it also sort of ties into like this whole idea. It seems like everyone has with like shorter attention spans. It seems like there's like everyone has less time to look at a website. So all this makes sense that why would you have like a big long testimonial if you can just drop in proof, or maybe even like have the best of both worlds. So really cool idea. And so you mentioned like you have a couple of sort of features planned, like this whole split testing thing. Anything else new that's sort of exciting that's coming up that people should be aware of and excited about with proof?
Yeah, well, I think where we need to move as a company is, like proof is not complex as a product. Like if someone is a developer, or maybe you hired a developer, you could go get proof built individually for your site for, maybe a couple $1,000. But what it is difficult is to do it as a company. And so it's difficult for me to make it easy to install on thousands of people's sites really, really easily. So it's not a really complex problem. It is a very complex business. And I think what we're trying to move to is how do we move from kind of having a feature or a few features to building an entire kind of social proof conversion platform where you're kind of managing all your social proof. You're kind of managing your conversion in there, where we can maybe automate the collection of testimonials and start displaying testimonials in your flow. We can kind of automate maybe the capturing of videos. We kind of manage all your videos in there. And that's kind of where we want to move to is really like social proof as a service and the social proof marketing platform that everybody uses to kind of manage all of their social proof, but always with the idea of like conversion in mind. Like we love conversion. That's the reason we came about this in the first place. I'm a lot more excited about conversion than I am about social proof. It's just that social proof is an incredibly easy way to increase conversion. And so we're going to kind of move into how do we become a platform here. So yeah, so split testing, we might make it where you can kind of click on the notification. It pulls up a full map of the world with everybody that's opted in various places. You can see like opt-ins from all over the world. So it's like, wow, this dude's like global. This is pretty cool here. It's not just me. So things like that. But really, a lot of it would be more on the back end of how do you kind of manage your social proof and keep your website updated regularly.
Awesome. I mean, I think that this is a really good idea, and I think that everyone should get this app. And it's been really interesting just sort of hearing about your sort of your thought process and some of these problems that you're trying to solve. And what's really great about this is, like you said, like you're solving just like a really simple thing, but just the difficulty is in getting it to catch on with everyone, right? Getting everyone to use it in whatever sort of platform they use. If it's Samcart, if it's ClickFunnels, if it's WordPress, whatever it is, you're just trying to make sure that everyone uses this tool. And I mean, it's a really awesome thing that you stumbled upon the cheat code, as you put it, where it's just like this really easy thing that sort of like some people say like, well, putting a logo on your site increases it by this much, or by removing this other stuff on your site increases by that much. So it's really great that there's just this sort of tool that's not really built into any of these other platforms, but is really needed and is really easy for people to put on their sites. So sort of as we're winding down our discussion here, we've been talking a lot about social proof and things like that. And I mean, have you seen anyone do the social proof thing like incorrectly? Like, are there any sort of pitfalls to avoid when it comes to people adding things to their websites, and any things that they should avoid when they don't want to kill their own social proof?
I mean, I'm just a big, I really think it's kind of like I'm kind of a lazy guy when it comes to like building some of the stuff out. And there's so much to think about, right? It's like headlines and copywriting and like what color should the button be? And, should I do an upsell or downsell? Like all these different things. There's so much to learn. And I kind of think that social proof's the lazy man's way to get a high converting funnel. And so I don't really see people doing it wrong often. I think kind of the more, if you just took a ton of screenshots from your Facebook group and put it on a page, it would work well. If you just took a ton of pictures from like all your customers' Facebook pages and just put them all on there and say, here's all of our customers, there's like 100 just pictures of like people's profile pictures, it would probably increase conversion rate. And so, yeah, I don't see it done wrong a lot. If anything, I think people just miss out on it a lot. And I'm constantly reminding myself, like, hey, when in doubt, adding social proof makes everything else easier in your funnel and in your marketing.
Cool stuff, and that makes perfect sense, especially with the rise of Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and all these other social networks. It would make sense that people are looking more for that social proof as opposed to any other kind of stuff like see what their friends are doing or see what other people just like them are doing. So makes a lot of sense, and thanks for keeping it simple. And it sounds like just the lazier way works because you just take a screenshot, put it on there, and you call it a day. Why overthink it? Why talk yourself out of it? Why not just do it? So can you tell us one more time where to get this proof thing for our websites?
Yeah, and the way I like thinking about too, kind of a line to remember is when I say it, it's marketing. When my customer says it, it's social proof. And so I can yap all day long about me and how great proof is, but like again, our website is useproof.com. You can go there. Don't listen to me talk about it. Go look at all of our customers on there. Go look at all of our screenshots. Go look at all the pictures of the influencers that are using this. We got Amy Porterfield and Alex Becker and Nicholas Kuzmich and Christian Mickelson and these other people that are using it. Like let that speak for itself because that's a whole lot more powerful for people. So yeah, useproof.com. You can check everything out.
Perfect. Great advice. I love it. Useproof.com. That's USEPROOF.com. And want to thank you so much, Mr. Dave, for stopping by the show and talking about proof and all this fun stuff. And I appreciate having you on today. Want to listen to more fantastic episodes of The Robert Plank Show? Subscribe to us at robertplank.com/iTunes and browse past episodes at robertplank.com.